Hi, thanks for joining us for another episode of Insulator Insights. So, to start us off, would you be willing to just introduce who you are, like your name, your position, the company that you're with, and where you guys are located and based out of?
Hi, I'm AJ Tetreault. Me and my dad, Joey Tetreault, the owners of Joey Tetreault Construction. We are based out of Spencer, Massachusetts, and we are cellulose and new wool installers.
Awesome. So would you like to fill us in about how long have you guys been in the cellulose insulation industry?
My dad has been doing this for probably 50 years now, 45, 50 years. I've been doing it since I was a kid. I'm 40 now, so probably a good 30 something years. We really got into it in 2005 when we got the new wool truck and we started doing it full time because we were plasterers at first and just did the cellulose maybe 3 or 4 houses a year. Now we're doing a lot more than that, so it's
Yeah,
nice.
that's yeah. That's awesome. So can you describe for us the overall experience that you've had within the insulation industry? Like, what's kind of your story personally?
Well, like I said, I started plastering, and then I got into the area where either I take on a couple crews or I start doing something different. And I really love the insulation, and I really thought it was going to blow up better with the market and the way things were going, but it still has because of the codes. Just just a lot of competition, I guess. There's a lot of stuff out in here and different types of products, and but with the new codes, it's been a lot better, and it's nice. We do a different job than most, I guess. So we have a reputation for doing it different. So, um, that's kind of why I wanted to get into it. I wanted to put my own little mark on it, I guess. And I like it. I think I got it there. So,
Awesome. So what kinds of insulation applications have you done before besides cellulose, or is cellulose the main insulation type that you have specialized in over the years?
basically, I mean, we have done fiberglass in basements, because we have to out here. But we stopped doing that now that CMS is out. So we do all the basements with the foundation walls. Um, And yeah, I won't touch the other stuff. I just don't like anything else but new wool and the cellulose. So that and the CMS is primarily all I use. It's nice. Stay with one product and then do the whole house.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So for the kinds of jobs that you guys do, are you primarily doing residential? Are you doing anything with commercial? What does the typical project look like for you guys?
For us, it's primarily residential. I mean, we'll do a couple commercial jobs here and there, but the residential, we have a lot of builders that we work for. Typically new houses. But lately it's been a lot of like little additions and this and that. Everybody's putting the little ADUs and everything up. So it's been a lot of that. But yeah, it's basically all primary, new construction and residential.
Nice. So I know you mentioned you use cellulose and then obviously the CMS EcoCell blankets for basements and such. What are some of the characteristics about those products that make you choose them? Like what is it about them that makes you want to utilize those products for your services?
I mean, they're green, they're non-harmful, there's nothing, they're it's just a great product. I mean, I've always loved the Newell product and the cellulose idea, being, reused and recycled. Um, it's pretty much really, I mean, the fire resistance, the mice, the insect, it's just everything. It's just a great product, and I've always liked it. That's why I can't put my name on the other stuff. I just seen too many other problems.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Like, what are some of the other issues, I guess, that you've run in with other than obviously the fact that it's itchy or irritating? Are there any other, like, specific,
I've seen a
problems
lot of
that
rot, a lot of mold, a lot of the mice are living in all the other stuff, the insects. When we were plastering, we used to tear walls down all the time, and you'd see just infinite amounts of stuff. I mean, the mold is really big on me. I don't like mold, and I go into a lot of fiberglass houses with it, and it's nasty. The foam too. I run into that with the rot all the time, and I can't put my name on something I don't think that's gonna last forever or as long as it can, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, thanks for sharing that. And then, have you ever had to explain so obviously as an installer, you, are going to different job sites and often having to maybe explain why a certain insulation type like cellulose is better than others. So has there ever been a time when you've had to explain those options to a homeowner or client, and how do you usually communicate those kinds of technical details to people that aren't in the industry?
So yeah, we run into it all the time. It's always cellulose against foam right now. Most people know in their heads that fiberglass doesn't work. I mean, that's just obvious. So it's basically the foam v cellulose battle. Um, and the thing is, the foam has a reputation, and it's on TV with Mike Holmes on Homes and all this other stuff. But um, I literally just go in and I show them the product. I let them touch it. I let them feel it. I explain to them they do foam. They got to be out of their house. They can't even be there for a day for 24 hours minimum. I tell them look it up online. I mean, if you actually ask your phone if it's good for resale, that actually tells you it's not. You know, so just looking up some of the research, and I just have them look it up and just tell them, like, I'm not gonna try to pressure you into it. I don't care. It's your house. What do you wanna live in? You know? Do you want fire, insects, mice free, or do you want an oil-based product that's manufactured that day by whoever shows up? And they usually say, "Yeah, that's not a good thing." Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not.
No.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because I don't think a lot of people realize, like, foam is manufactured on site versus, you know so it can have a lot of different variables that can impact it for sure.
Exactly, and I watched them install it, like, the right way one day, and it was a guy that was going back and forth to a laptop, and he was checking the hoses, and I'm like, "I don't wanna do that." I don't wanna be responsible for that, you know? And you watch the guys now, you go to jobs, and it's snowing, it's -10 degrees, and they get their hoses right outside, and they're just spraying, and I'm like, "Yeah, that ain't gonna work." It's just
Mm,
not gonna work, you know?
yeah,
It's not the
for sure.
perfect world. Nothing's ever the perfect temperatures, and we run into that even with cellulose where it freezes up and you gotta heat it, but the worst problem that can happen is it freezes,
Mhm.
and you can dry it out. It's very workable, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely one of those things where a product in real world conditions matters, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So from kind of getting more into your personal experiences as a installer, have you ever had a customer or contractor disagree with the recommended insulation type, or, installation method? If so, like how do you normally handle that kind of a disagreement?
Yeah, I have a job that we're doing, for a guy that actually used to be an insulation installer. And he has this thing in his head where fiberglass works, and he loves it, and he does this and that. So he's done it a couple times where he's put fiberglass in a couple bays, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I will rip it out and I install the cellulose. And then he gets mad at me because he spent the time to do it. And I say, "Look at your blower door numbers." I said, "You are passing. You're outdoing like probably every other builder around here." I says, "You're doing great. Why are you gonna wreck it?" And I said, "This is my job. I'm here. I'm doing it." And that's pretty much how it goes. When the builders know I'm coming, they just get out of the way because it's basically my house. You know, even when we did that house in Acushnet for you guys and help you there, I told the builder straight out. I said, "This is my house." I says, "I know you're the builder owner." I says, "This is my house. I'm taking control. I'm taking over. I would do what I would do to my house here." And he was like, "Wow, you really do." He goes, "As soon as you walked in this door, I could tell, like, you cared." And I'm like, "I do, and I try to do my best." You know, and I think that really shows everybody, and they're all understanding, like, when they say, "Oh, maybe you should do foam here, or maybe you should do fiberglass here," I just say, "Get somebody else." I know what I'm doing, and I'm gonna do it, but I just I like my product, and I can do it, and I know how to do it, so
Yeah, I think that's a really admirable mindset, and I think it really shows that in your profession, you truly are like you said, you care about what you're doing, you care about the process, you want them to have the best house possible. So I think that's definitely a good thing, and I hope that people see the value in that, of course.
they seem to. We
Yeah.
get a lot of customers that come back to us, you know?
That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys have been around a long time, so that
Oh, yeah.
has to say something.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
So how would you explain the benefits of proper insulation to someone who maybe doesn't understand what proper insulation is, or maybe just doesn't understand why it's important for their home?
Um, I mean, it's tough to say because everybody is different. So you kind of got to read what people want. I go to some people's houses and you could tell they're green, they're environmental, they want that kind of stuff. And then you go to some houses and they don't care anything about that. They're throwing all their cans away. They're not recycling anything. So you kind of got to go in and kind of get a vibe from them and see what they care about. Um, Everybody usually cares nowadays about heating bills. Um, Everybody cares about, you know, getting the job done right. Um, but as far as like saying what one to do, you really got to read them. You got to understand the people and tell them, listen, do you want to be green? Do you want to be efficient, or do you want to just, use an oil? Or you say to the other people like, hey, yes, I'm gonna be insulating and I'm gonna make it really tight. You're gonna have super cheap heating, cooling bills. If you do it this way, you can get this. And it's basically trying to, it's like selling them a mattress. Do you want a stiff mattress, a hard mattress, or a soft mattress? You don't know until you read them and they can tell you. They gotta try it out. And that's what I tell these people. Like, listen, you gotta look at it, look it up and figure out what you want and how much you want to save in the end. It's all we can really do.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. So kind of getting more into specific jobs that maybe you've had experience doing. The first question I have is what would you say is maybe the weirdest job that you've ever done, and why would you classify it as being the weirdest?
Weirdest job. Hmm. Um, I don't know. I have done so many weird jobs and funky jobs, and I did one in New York a long time ago with all barreled ceilings that we had to net all through metal, and like because the barrels was already done and I had to get above it and into it, and that was really weird because I really didn't want to do that. It was terrible. It was cutting us all up. It was
Yikes.
um so I guess that was more terrible than weird, but the job itself was gorgeous. The hallways were all round, going all the way up and down. It was I think 20,000 square foot house.
Wow.
I mean, it had elevators to the 3 floors. It was unbelievable. So it was a weird way to insulate the house, I guess.
Yeah, the
So
method was weird. Yeah.
yeah, it was different.
Yeah.
Mm.
What would you say is maybe the favorite job that you've ever done, and why would you say it was your favorite?
Um, I mean, I think one of the favorite jobs now is the Acushnet job. I mean, working with the Newell team out there was really cool, and I had my guy Brian, who's got a video on Facebook on what is it, YouTube right now with I think it's got 8 million hits or something. And it's got my belly and a little bit of my side. See, that was me. So I'm in there with like 8 million people at the minimum have seen it. So I think that was pretty cool. I like doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for the audience that maybe doesn't know what video you're talking about, do you wanna explain a little bit more about what it was?
The video is so it's the architect wow, having a
Steve
mental
Baczek.
Yeah, Steve Baczek, thank you. So
Yeah.
Steve Baczek took a short reel on his video on his phone, and he was just doing a bunch of little clips. And he happened to take one, and we were in a hallway, and my guy Brian was using his scrubber, so he was cleaning the material off all the studs, and I don't know why it just blew up. It just it got so many hits and so fast, and it's actually on other reels of reels of reels. So I don't even know how many people have seen it. Of course, everybody says, "Oh, they're bad. They're bad people. They don't have masks on. They're dirty. They wasted so much product." And Steve was like, "Don't ever look at the comments." And now I know why. I stopped looking at them. But he had to go on it and say, "Listen, this was the cleanest job I've ever seen an insulator do." He said there was no waste. Every single thing was recycled. Everything was cleaned. And he said, as far as a mask, OSHA doesn't require it when you're damp spraying because it's adding water, and there was really no dust. It really wasn't that messy. He goes, it was messy on the floor, but it got vacuumed up. You know, everything was reused. That's the best part of the job. You reuse everything.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. And obviously, when it comes to videos like that, people just don't see the side of it of, like when you're filming, you're only showing the process of it happening, but you're not showing everything that comes in between. Like, I don't know, the vacuuming isn't always the most glamorous part of the job. So most of the time, they're not showing that part,
No, no. But Dave was doing a heck of a job doing it, so they
Yeah.
should have. That should have got 8 million hits too.
Yeah. No, we appreciated your guys' help on the build show project. It turned out really good. And yeah, your guys' installation work was incredible. And
Mm.
yeah,
Thank you.
tons of
Yeah,
people get to see it and witness that. And yeah,
yeah, it's nice.
for
It
sure.
was cool.
Okay. What would you say is maybe the biggest job that you've ever done? Whether that's square foot or however else you want to, I guess, identify it being the biggest.
Um, we actually did a big commercial job, a few years back, and it was, 55 micro apartments. It was a lot, but we also had, the board and the plaster too. We were doing all of it. I think I had 16 guys working for me at one point. Just I had to tell everybody what to do, where to go, how to do it, and we had to hang one side of the wall because it was all metal studs. So I have to work with them to tell them what to do and make sure they didn't hang the wrong sides. And it was a lot of work, a lot of work, and, everybody there can't believe how quiet the units are. They can't hear anybody from each one, and how warm and nice and I mean, it was a really cool project. I don't like commercial that much because it was tough, and there's a lot of, extra hours that you don't get paid for. You don't, but, it was a big job, and I had a lot of people that I had to watch while I'm doing the work, you know? But we had to get both machines out and get all this stuff going. It was nice. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I think that's really cool. Like, I know the apartment complex, that I currently live in, like, with my husband, we have new wool in the walls, and
Oh, wow.
it's just noticeable. Like, I don't think I've ever lived somewhere that is as quiet as the place that we live now. So it's, like, really cool even for you guys to hear about all of those tenants who are, appreciative of the work that you did because they don't hear their neighbors, and that's such a nice thing, especially when you're living in
Yeah,
apartment, you
it's
know?
something you don't think to ask when you're gonna get an apartment, like, "Hey, are my walls insulated with new wool?"
Yeah.
They just get in there and then they complain,
Mhm.
and that's why I try to tell all these, like, the guys building these things, like, "Insulate them. You're gonna keep your tenants longer," I think that's important,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, it's more money." It's like, "Yeah, but you keep a tenant longer, you save money."
Yes.
It's like, you don't have to go back in and paint it. You don't have to go in and do this. You just keep them. They keep paying. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you try to work with them doing that, and usually they go for it, so.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mm.
for sure. And then what would you say was maybe the hardest job that you've ever done? If it was the one that you were talking about earlier or potentially a different one?
Um, yeah, I mean, every job has just some really hard parts. I have crawled in some nasty small areas, and, we have done a lot of hard stuff, but I always try to make it easy. I mean, some of the hardest spots, I mean, I use a snowboard to crawl through an attic. I've had to tie a rope to my leg to have somebody pull me out just to get in and out. You pull yourself in, and then sometimes you can't really pull yourself out, so you get a rope on it, and you just say pull, and you go. So some of those are really tricky. Those are all like old capes and stuff that we're redoing. But every job just has something tough. It's just the plumbers don't make it easy for the CMS. The electricians never do either. It just every job is just it's got something tough. So I couldn't even say which job is the hardest. They all just have their hard spots.
Yeah, they all have a little bit of trickiness to them.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially where I only use one product, so it
Mhm.
gets trickier too. Because the old days of taking a piece of fiberglass with a stick and shoving it in a spot and saying it's good. It just doesn't work.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
No, that's crazy. I've never heard of the using a snowboard in the attic.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a great tool. It's a real
Yeah.
great tool. Works awesome.
Yeah, probably helps you not fall through the drywall, so
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Alright, so kind of wanting to ask for, yeah, just sort of your insights as an insulator, trying to, like, get some advice, I guess, for those who are in the industry. So, for you, what do you think separates a great insulation installer from an average one? And how would you kind of describe, yeah, like what sets your company apart as being a step above the average insulation installer?
I would just say caring. I mean, you need to care what you're doing. Um, if you don't care, you're not gonna do a good job. If you're just going step by step and just thinking you're doing the job, you're never gonna do it, you know? Little things are just important. You make sure you finish everything. Make sure you're doing it as best as you can, you know? If you see a problem, fix it before, you don't just keep going with it. I've seen so many guys do that when it's like, just stop, get it taken care of, and keep going. Sometimes it'll go faster if you do that. So it's just caring. You gotta have that, have it in your heart and want the best for the homeowner.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mm.
being intentional with the job and yeah.
Right.
Mhm. So as someone who works in the industry, what would you say are maybe some of the biggest misconceptions that people might have about insulation and what you guys do?
Well, it's funny because I used to be a plasterer. Now I do insulation, and everybody says, "Oh, that's so much easier." And I go, "No, no. You don't know what we do. We crawl in these holes. We crawl in dirt floors. I have put my hand in poop way too many times that I could tell you. You don't know what's in those basements. We have pulled skulls, cat skulls, raccoons. I don't even. I mean, the stuff you find in attics, bees nest. You get into a tight area and you crawl all the way through, and all of a sudden you open your eyes to a 4 foot bees nest, and you're like, oh yeah, you just want to run, but you can't run because you crawled in there. Um, so the job is not easy. It's a tough job. It's a very dirty job. It cleans up though. You take the leaf blower and you blow yourself off, and it's clean now. But it's a dirty job until then. It's just I just don't think anybody realizes how tough it is until they actually see you doing it. And then they say, "Oh wow, I guess your price wasn't that high. I didn't know it was that much work, and you needed so many tools, and you needed this." And
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. No, it's definitely one of those things where you don't see what's in the walls that often, and a lot of people, especially, like, homeowners and stuff, like, we don't see that side of it, so it's hard to understand exactly what you guys all go through to do that, and I can't I know, like, on the East Coast, you guys are dealing with a lot of different home styles that are definitely more either older or you're dealing with a whole bunch of other situations that we don't always deal with in the Midwest or other areas of the country, for that matter.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of weird houses that go up, and we were supposed to do one not long ago. It was like 36 feet tall, just the ceilings. I was
Whoa.
like, I don't even know how to get to there. So you tell the homeowner to set staging up, and they don't. So it's like, well, I'm not doing it. I can't do a job if I can't get up there.
Mhm.
You got to have it easy for people so no one gets hurt.
Yeah,
So it's just yeah, we see everything. We see a lot of weird stuff.
yeah.
Mm.
36-foot ceilings is crazy.
Yeah, a lot of wasted space.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I can't even imagine all the heat rising, like, I don't know. I just feel like it wouldn't be very energy efficient either.
Well, that's the thing is once it's up to temperature, it stays to temperature. I mean,
Yes, yeah.
it's not like the old days where the fiberglass would let it out, so it was going all the way up there and then right out. Now it just goes up there and it stays. So it's not quite as bad. It just takes the initial heating and cooling is going to be a little more.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm.
Yeah, cool. What is one small detail in insulation installation that most people might overlook, but that you feel can make a really big difference?
Um, I mean, if they just seal up the outside of their houses, everybody tries to seal the inside of the house with the caulking and stuff like that. Air sealing is one of the biggest things that no one ever thinks about. you know? A friend of mine's doing a house, and I showed him the Siga tape, and he taped the zip board right to the concrete foundation, and you try to get these people to understand, yes, the insulation is gonna stop a lot of the bugs and mice and insects, but that one detail right there is actually gonna stop way more air and bugs than anything else. Like, that's where all the ladybugs come in. That's where all the thing. I mean, the cat guide commercial shows on their commercials. Hey, look at it. We're gonna bend metal right here and stop the mice from coming in. And that's what it does. So that little detail there, with the right insulation, is gonna be an efficient. It's gonna be a nice house. You're not gonna have the drafts. You're not gonna have all the stuff that you know. These people come in and say, "Oh, I have one cold wall," and they want me to insulate one wall. And I'm like, "Well, I make this wall warmer. That wall's gonna be colder." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "It happens all the time." I said, "Let me just do all of them," and they don't. And then I got to come back later and do the other wall. You got to just keep it all equal. You know.
Yeah,
Mm.
for sure. I think that's a really good tip, and yeah, obviously, as someone in the industry, you see that and you experience that
Oh yeah.
those little things can really go a long way.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you were training up someone new into the insulation industry, what would be the first thing that you would want to teach them?
Um, I don't know. I pretty much do it almost weekly. But it's basically safety first. You got to be careful because we're up and down ladders. We're walking, and um, it's hard to say. It's just basically safety first. If you're putting yourself in a dangerous spot, don't do it. Um, be smart. Just look. Pay attention. It's not a tough job once you get it down. Um, you know, just pay attention, and that's it. Everything else you'll get taught. You'll learn it as you go. It just follow the next person, and you'll get it.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Safety is obviously super important, and you gotta be smart on the job.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. What is perhaps the biggest piece of advice that you would want to give to others in the industry, whether they're just starting out or if they've been there for a long time? What would you say is maybe the biggest piece of advice that you could offer?
Um, you know, I would say, don't do it. Get out. No, I'm just kidding. I say try to find help and keep them. Keep the help that you can, because doing it yourself, and I've been doing it myself for a while. It's tricky. I mean, I have a lot of good guys now, which is great, but for a little while there, during the COVID times and everything, I was insulating attics myself and blowing damp spray in walls by myself. It's not fun. It's not. So if you could find good help and keep them, do it. Just keep them because you need them. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah. So is there anything else that we haven't already touched on that you want to bring to light? I'm kind of just giving you the floor to just talk further about your experiences, anything else that we haven't already covered. Um, yeah.
I don't think so. I think we got everything pretty good.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Yeah, obviously, thank you so much for taking the time just to join me and just kind of share some of your insights, some of your experiences in the industry. Obviously, we value having you as a new wool installer, and we're really glad that you choose to use our products exclusively, even, and
Oh
just
yeah.
communicating and educating people about them and why they're great. Um, obviously, it helps to know that there are installers like you that choose our products deliberately for those reasons. So just thank you for sharing that and also just sharing your experiences with different projects and all of that. So I appreciate your time. But before we close out, I just would like you to share more about like where people can find you, where your company, like you said, is located in Massachusetts, maybe what areas you serve if it's a wider area of the East Coast. Just kind of give some of those details about how people can reach you and where they can find you.
I mean, our phone number's in the books. It's under Joey Tetreault Construction. I have a Facebook page up. I'm not very tech savvy. I changed my background. I did get that. So this isn't my house, but it'd be cool. Um, Anyway, yeah, so we're on Facebook. We're on the new leaders, the any book you get in, but it's Joey Tetreault Construction. We're out of Spencer, Mass. We go in the Worcester area. We try to stay as close we can, and luckily we have been. But we'll go wherever when we have to. Our phone number is 508-885-3753 if you want to give us a call and we can keep you warmer.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, AJ.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Ashton.
your time and yeah, have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.